It was pouring rain when Ethan Brooks heard the knock on his front door. He wasn't expecting anyone, especially not at that hour. When he opened the door, the sight before him made his heart stop. There, standing in the rain, was a tiny girl, no older than 5. Her pink dress was soaked, her little hands trembling as she clutched them together. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered, "Please, help me. They hurt my mom. She's drying." Ethan, a man who once believed money could solve anything, suddenly found himself frozen, because for the first time in years, he had no idea what to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to Kindness Stories. If you believe kindness can change the world, you're in the right place. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this story. It really helps us bring you more true and inspiring stories like this one. And don't forget to comment below what kindness means to you. Now, let's begin. Ethan Brooks was one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the city. He built his fortune from nothing, working long hours, making tough deals, and never letting emotions get in the way. To him, compassion was a weakness. His calendar was full of meetings, not moments. He lived alone in a mansion on the hill, a place that looked perfect from the outside but felt empty inside. The silence was deafening most nights. That rainy evening, he was just about to pour himself a drink when he heard the faint, desperate knocking. At first, he ignored it, assuming it was a delivery gone to the wrong house. But the knocking came again, softer this time, but more urgent. When he opened the door, the world seemed to slow down. The little girl stood shivering, her blonde curls plastered to her face by the rain. Her eyes were wide with fear, her lips trembling. "Please, help me. My mom's hurt." Ethan's chest tightened. "Where's your mom?" he asked, kneeling down to her level. The girl pointed down the street, her tiny hand shaking. "There. In the car. Please hurry." Without another word, Ethan grabbed his coat and ran through the rain. The girl led him to an old, beat-up sedan parked under a flickering streetlight. Inside, a woman was slumped over the steering wheel, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Ethan's pulse raced. "Call 911, he shouted to his security guard, who had followed him out. He checked the woman's pulse. She was alive, but barely conscious. "Mommy, wake up," the little girl cried, tugging at her mother's arm. Ethan gently pulled her away, trying to keep her calm. "Hey, it's okay. The ambulance is coming," he said softly, placing his jacket over the woman to keep her warm. Minutes felt like hours, but soon the sirens cut through the storm. The paramedics worked quickly, loading the woman into the ambulance. Ethan turned to the girl. "You're coming with me, okay? You'll be safe." The girl nodded, clutching a small, worn-out teddy bear. "Thank you," she whispered. Back at his mansion, Ethan wrapped her in a blanket and gave her a cup of hot chocolate. She sat quietly by the fire, her eyes fixed on the flames. "What's your name?" Ethan asked. "Lily," she said softly. "My mom's name is Sarah." Ethan smiled faintly. "That's a pretty name. Is she going to be okay?" Lily looked down. She said she was tired, and that people at her job were mean. They yelled at her today. Then, she cried while driving. Her voice trembled. "I think she fell asleep." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. For years, he had fired people like Sarah, workers struggling to keep up, employees he thought were too slow or emotional. It never occurred to him that behind every poor performance was a story, a life, a person trying their best. That night, after Lily fell asleep on the couch, Ethan sat by the window, listening to the rain. For the first time in a long while, he prayed, not for money, not for success, but for a stranger's life. The next morning, Ethan drove Lily to the hospital. Sarah was awake but weak, her head bandaged. When she saw her daughter, tears filled her eyes. "Mommy!" Lily ran to her, and Sarah hugged her tight, sobbing. Ethan stood back, watching the scene unfold. Sarah looked up at him. "You're the man who helped us," she said quietly. "Thank you. I didn't know if anyone would stop." Ethan nodded. "I'm just glad you're okay." Sarah explained that she had been working 2 jobs to support her daughter. Her husband had left years ago, and her small apartment was barely affordable. She was on her way home after a long shift when exhaustion took over. Ethan felt a pang of guilt. He realized that people like Sarah were the reason his company even existed. Yet he had never really seen them. He asked if she needed anything. She shook her head. "You've already done enough. Just knowing there are kind people left in the world, that's enough." But for Ethan, it wasn't enough. In the following days, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about them. He visited the hospital daily, bringing food, flowers, and books for Lily. They talked, laughed, and shared stories.